Now, today's been an interesting day because normally every now and then I get fed some interesting inside scoop about what's going on with the Dodgers. For example, when Tyler Glasnow was getting traded, someone tipped me off that this was happening, and I was didn't have all the inside of who was getting dealt, but I found that interesting. Today I've had like 4 or 5 people reach out to me, including someone that covers the New York Yankees, and all of them are saying the same thing, that there is extreme strong confidence out there that the Los Angeles Dodgers and Roki Sasaki are at the finish line, and they're the front runners right now to get this deal done. Now, I am not going to go out there on record and say that I'm proclaiming this is a done deal. This is secondary stuff being fed to me from people that apparently have talked to people within the front office and even reporters that are very familiar names. But I'm keeping that all anonymous. And again, I am not going to stake my reputation on this, but I've had 4 or 5 people DM me today saying that Roki Sasaki and the Los Angeles Dodgers are imminent in terms of getting an agreement done. How does that make you feel, Jake?
I mean, it makes me feel great. I think that at this point, it's like, do we need Roki Sasaki to repeat as World Series champions? I don't believe so. I think the Dodgers couldn't do that without him. But I think where I stand on it is I'd rather us have him than the Padres, because what that means is that if the Padres get him, then we're going to have to face him for the rest of his career. And I don't want that. And I also don't want the Padres to have nice things. So for me, like I said, the only thing I cared about this offseason was Teoscar Hernandez, and the Dodgers did that, and everything else is just going to be gravy for me. So if we get Sasaki, I am very happy. Obviously, he is going to be value very much added to this team, but I'd rather the Dodgers steal him away from San Diego. That's my main thing.
I feel like because of the strength he would add to the Dodgers rotation, shutting down the opposition is more prevalent to me right now than trying to score some more runs, because we know our offense is legit. But the one thing that the Dodgers can be inconsistent with, and we saw that with the postseason with a few blowups, can be the pitching. And if you add a guy like Sasaki to the starting rotation, you're looking at probably the best pitching rotation in the game. You've got Yamamoto, you got Ohtani coming back likely in May, let alone Tyler Glasnow. Hopefully he's healthy. Blake Snell, a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, who's my most exciting signing. That was the top free agent I wanted the Dodgers to sign, and they added him. So I'm excited to see that lefty ace in their Dodgers rotation. Then you throw in Sasaki, and hopefully guys like Gonsolin. We'll see if Dustin May has a role. Maybe Bobby Miller bounces back. Clayton Kershaw could get some innings in there. They have a very deep list of who could be in this Dodgers starting rotation, and that includes losing Buehler and likely Flaherty. So they've done a really good job of strengthening already an area that was kind of strong for the Dodgers last season. So Roki Sasaki, if they can sign Roki Sasaki, and it's not just a short-term thing, this is a long-term, 6-7 years, and he could become a top 10 pitcher in baseball right away.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw what Yamamoto was able to do coming over from Japan. And he was hurt for a good chunk of the season and still showed up in the playoffs and cemented his legacy already as a Dodger. So I'm very excited for what Sasaki could bring to this team. And let me pose this question, Kevin. In all the years that you've been a Dodgers fan, have you ever been this calm and comfortable with a roster before? I mean, minus last year. I mean, we're going to do a segment where we're going to talk about some of the worst Dodgers that ever wore the uniform. And I was going through year after year of these rosters, and some of these rosters were just horrific. 2005 and 2011. I mean, just horrible rosters that we had to endure as Dodgers fans. And I don't remember an offseason where I just felt as comfortable and stress-free as this one.
No, it's 100% spot on. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is the golden era of Dodgers baseball. Like, in your lifetime, there probably will not be a better era to be a Dodgers fan. And the 100+ years of the franchise history, from a star perspective and now the success and output, this is the best time to be a Los Angeles Dodger fan. And that is exactly why we could be cool, calm, and collective. I feel like this whole close to a dynasty, whatever you want to call it, movement began when they acquired Mookie Betts. Well, I mean, it started with Friedman, but the first big move, the big domino, was when they traded for Mookie Betts. That was a move that you signed you traded and then signed for a Hall of Famer, a guy that will put this franchise on his back, and he's produced with 2 World Series championships now. Then last offseason, we talked about it before, it was the most important offseason in Dodgers franchise history because the superstar Shohei Ohtani was out there on the market, and whatever team was going to sign Shohei Ohtani likely positioned themselves to win at least 1 World Series, if not multiple. And we already got one in year 1 with Ohtani. And then we talked about how the trade deadline was probably one of the most important trade deadlines in Dodgers franchise history. And they needed an arm desperately, and they came through with Jack Flaherty. And then they got the NLCS MVP, and then they signed him to an extension, Tommy Edman. And you've got Michael Kopech coming back for 1 more year, who's a high leverage reliever. So this doesn't happen overnight. Andrew Friedman's been very tactical in the way he's assembled this team for the longevity. And I think that's why you're seeing more players flock to the Dodgers and want to be a part of this success because of the culture and winning sustainability. And it's for good reason why we can just be kind of chilling now. And everything is just sweetening the deal of what's already being the awesome feeling of being a Dodgers fan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I think it was Fangraphs put some projections out there. I'm going to run you some quick numbers of what it would be like to add Roki Sasaki based off their projections. So they're projecting a 3.7 F4, a guy that could throw 148 innings, 3.19 ERA, 31% K rate, and a FIP of barely above 3, and decent command as well. And we know Sasaki, he has the stuff to throw 100+ miles per hour. He has one of the most devastating splitters that can top out at 92 miles per hour. And he's really worked on, and he's thrown a very effective slider now that generates a lot of swings and misses. So if the Dodgers were to add Roki Sasaki, I know it's hard to make a judgment because he hasn't technically pitched in the majors. Where do you think he would slot in the Dodgers rotation?
I think certainly he would slot in, I would say number 3 at the moment, maybe behind Glasnow and Yamamoto, or maybe 4 actually behind Snell. I feel like you can't go wrong with any one of those guys on opening day, but I feel like they might give it to a veteran like a Glasnow or a Snell, and then have Yamamoto and Sasaki right behind him. But I mean, does it really matter? Who cares? Like it's going to be it's going to be the best rotation in baseball. The Dodgers have the best roster in baseball by a mile. Up and down, bullpen, lineup, starting rotation, even without Sasaki, it is the best roster in all of baseball. And I don't think that there's really one other roster that's particularly close at this point. So to me, I think Sasaki would slot in either 3 or 4 to start. What do you think?
I'm right there with you. Yamamoto, I think, is going to naturally establish himself as the Dodgers ace. And because Blake Snell is just happy to be a Los Angeles Dodger, he could end up being their number 1, but he'll most likely be at least top 2. So game 1 or game 2, that's Blake Snell for you. And then after that, it gets kind of interesting. If Ohtani is the Ohtani prior to the second elbow surgery, he is an ace on any team he's ever pitched for because he has a 3 ERA throughout his career. But I don't know how to forecast what Ohtani is going to look like right now. But if Ohtani looks like the Ohtani prior to this injury, he's easily their number 3. And then Roki Sasaki, I am very high on him. And I've been saying in the past that this is like acquiring the closest thing to Paul Skeens. But Paul Skeens is an all-star. He started the all-star game and is an ace on 2/3 of the league. But on the Dodgers, Paul Skeens would be the ace, but Roki Sasaki, he probably falls into the Dodgers number 4 spot, which is kind of funny that Tyler Glass now all of a sudden takes a big step back and is probably the 5th best starter on the Dodgers. And then after that, sixth starter, don't care right now. It could be anybody, but yeah, that's the way I see it. Tyler Glass now falls to number 5.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. But I also could see Dave Roberts giving a nod to a veteran to start opening day.
Yeah, so it's going to be Japan as we know. So Yamamoto for sure. It'll be interesting if they sign Sasaki. Do they just give it to Sasaki because they're pitching in Japan? Don't know, but I guess that's something we'll find out during spring training when we get more intel on that.
They may do a thing where it's like Yamamoto starts in Japan, but then Glass now starts at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. So the other thing I wanted to throw out there, there's this site out there on X called Vegas Gambling Steam, and they are very this is called reaching, but they said that Roki Sasaki is coming to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I wouldn't just throw them out there for the hell of it. The reason I am saying this is because I did a little digging into them, and they've actually nailed some stuff in the past. They got 23,000 followers. It's not like they're chasing followers. They're heavily affiliated with Las Vegas, it looks like. In 2019, they were actually one of the first to break Bryce Harper to the Phillies. They were also one of the first to break Kawhi Leonard to the Clippers. And it looks like, based off the odds that have swung as well, Roki Sasaki, if you want to bet on this, is now, I think, a minus 200 to sign with the Dodgers, which indicates pretty heavy favorites. And this site just kind of hitting the nail on the head that there's strong optimism out there that Roki Sasaki and the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to get this thing done. And the number I've been throwing out there kind of consistently is I give it an 85 to 90% chance right now. Roki Sasaki signs with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The rest of it goes to the Padres. Blue Jays, no chance. I don't know why Toronto's even in it, to be honest. I mean, if I was a pitcher, I'd much rather go to New York. So it's kind of interesting that the Mets and Yankees were eliminated officially, but the Blue Jays still exist. Because I can't even think of one marquee Japanese pitcher that signed with the Blue Jays instantly coming out of Japan. I couldn't give you one.
Yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head. It's very, it's tough because we can all laugh at the Blue Jays, right? For kind of always coming up short. The whole Ohtani, signing with the Blue Jays, the JP Hornstra, just the erroneous report that went out. We can all laugh at them, but at least they're trying. Like, at least they're in the conversation. I mean, if you're a Blue Jays fan, you got to at least feel good that your front office is trying to get some big names to come to Toronto and build a winner there. They're trying to compete in a very difficult AL East right now. So I commend them for doing that. They may need to find other ways to get better through trading and, drafting and developing players versus free agents, because they can't get anybody to come over